So, I will start from the top of my list. So first of all, just if you could just tell us a bit about like the current situation in terms of sustainability, where we're at the moment.
In terms of fashion, so
yes.
Okay. And I look at you, yes.
Yes, that'd be great.
That's a really big question.
She's basically written that and she's put it afterwards. It's not good news, is it?
Okay, so that's good. Right. So it's going to take me a while to warm up to this, and then I won't be able to stop.
I know it was a bit of a big one to start with.
Yeah, it's like what's
further down. We can
move into that one. I can.
I'm trying to see what else we've got on the top of there.
So I can talk about the textile industry. Okay, yes. Shall I go?
She's basically just put like, which is obviously what she's trying to get at.
Yeah.
She's just put like, the fact it's the largest polluter after oil and blah blah blah. So sort of, I guess a general overview of where we're at with fashion.
Great. The fashion industry is one of the world's largest polluters. It actually creates more carbon emissions than international aviation and shipping combined. It's an incredible amount. So we know that it's one of the big problems in terms of carbon emissions. It's a huge problem in terms of how much water is used. So for example, it would take 13 years to drink the water that is used to make one pair of jeans and one t-shirt. So it's just an incredible amount of environmental resources that are required for making the clothing that we wear. And another big problem is after people have used the clothing, what happens to it at its end of life? And 300,000 tonnes of clothing end up in landfill every year in the UK. That's 11 million items of clothing a week. So it's a huge pollution problem, a huge waste of resources, and it's something which is really a big problem now.
I mean, I did not realise it was that. I mean, I knew it was an issue, obviously, but I didn't know it was that vast. How do you kind of get that message out there? What can you do to tell people about this problem?
One of the things that we're doing at Oxfam to tell people about this problem is we've launched I'll start again. One of the things we're doing to tell people about this problem is our Secondhand September campaign. So we're going around festivals this summer, and we're through our shops on the high street. We've been talking about the fact that if you buy secondhand clothes, that will reduce the environmental impact of your shopping. So it's one of the ways that we're trying to sort of raise awareness of the problem.
Actually, I completely
just threw that in.
I'm sure have a drink somewhere. Yeah, of course. The fact that we've kind of so we've answered the second question. What's the carbon footprint of say one t-shirt and one pair of jeans? Maybe we talked about that. And you've also, I think, we might have even answered the first three questions in one there.
Should I say each of them as individual answers?
I think that's fine. She's also put them sending a huge amount to landfill, which you already said. Okay, so this is different now. Okay, so particularly in the UK, people are addicted to fast fashion, and we buy more than any other country. How do we discourage people from buying the sort of £5 dress and the £1 bikini?
Shall I repeat the questions as well? So that
you can look.
There's a problem at the moment with fast fashion. So it's really easy to buy cheap, throwaway, disposable clothes, essentially. So you can buy a bikini for £1, clothes for under £5, which are just worn once and then thrown away. So we're trying to encourage people to consider the environmental impact of those clothes, and just instead of trying to buy things new, we don't expect people to stop shopping, but they could try shopping secondhand, swap with friends, maybe go shopping in their wardrobe is another theme that people use. So what have you already got that you might need that you could wear? So we're trying to encourage people to think before they shop.
Like, what's kind of being done at a higher level in terms of to stop people even coming onto the market? Is there stuff happening? Is there a bigger picture there of what the industry's doing?
So many of the fashion industry big companies are actually now responding to this challenge and looking at ways of using sustainable fabrics, looking at using more sustainable supply chains, but there's still a long way to go. So I don't know if I would talk about it, but I'll say it anyway. So there was a parliamentary environmental audit committee earlier this year looked into the impact of fast fashion and came up with some recommendations which now the government are hoping that the fashion industry will take on these recommendations voluntarily to actually try and make a difference to the way that they are sort of trading, doing business and working with the people in their supply chains. So we would urge the businesses to actually follow those recommendations from the audit committee report.
Hopefully they will, as they're told.
Yes, yeah, we hope so.
Is fast fashion mostly to blame for these problems, or are high-end brands just as bad?
This problem, the problem exists across the whole textile industry, so this is high-end fashion as well as fast fashion. We know that fast fashion has really encouraged people to consider clothing as throwaway, but also the problems within the production system and the supply chains are the same across high-end as well as fast fashion. So really it is for every fashion retailer to consider how their impact on the environment when they're making their clothes.
So yeah, I remember, in fact Lizzie might have told me this, but they were saying that the high-end brands quite often throw away whole lines because they don't want them to be flooded on the market, so they're kind of like they want to keep the exclusivity, which
it's crazy, isn't
terrifying.
it? Yeah. So there have been examples of high-end brands who have been who have destroyed clothing, but now we're able as Oxfam to work with some of those companies. So instead of throwing the clothing away or burning it as another example, we can sort of help them with that, get it through if they donate it to Oxfam, it goes through our shops, and it's giving it a second chance so that it doesn't go into landfill.
Yeah, seems to be much better idea. Should fashion retailers take responsibility for the clothes they sell? Would you support putting a tax of 1p on each item to fund a recycling scheme?
That was one of the recommendations from the Environmental Audit Committee.
Is that like is that something that's out there?
It's out there as so I could say that. So one of the recommendations of the Parliamentary Environmental Audit Committee was that there should be a 1p charge as a tax on every item of clothing. This is one of the recommendations that they've made to try and improve and pass on the challenge of this environmental impact onto the manufacturers. It's not something which is being pushed through by the government, but something which we think it would actually help make a difference.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea. Do you buy into companies like Inditex, owner of Zara, recent policy announcements about sustainability, or is this greenwashing?
That's a good question. Companies like Inditex, who own Zara and H&M and other big retailers, are all now launching things called clothing take-back schemes. So, for example, you can take your old clothes into their stores and donate them, and they'll often give you money off. Some of those companies are working with charities like Oxfam, so Marks and Spencer's and Oxfam have been working together for over 10 years now on a program called Swapping, and that's where we can take the clothing that's donated in Marks and Spencer's stores and it goes into Oxfam shops and into our recycling system. So there are ways which large companies are helping consumers to recycle, but we know that there's a long way for others to go and to really properly make a difference.
Because I wonder how because I didn't know that, say, Zara did that. I wonder how they get that information to customers. Do they have a good way of communicating that they do this? It's very well that they do it, but do people know?
Most of these companies have in-store messaging. I'm not actually sure whether Zara have launched it in the UK yet this year. I know that we have Oxfam Ireland works with Zara, but I don't know whether it happens in the UK yet. It's definitely not working with Oxfam in the UK at the moment.
Okay. Right, I think that's that page. Inditex say they want to be a force for change. They say they believe less is more, quality over quantity, but yet they still produce 450 million items per year. That's not actually a question, that's a statement.
It's a statement, yes.
I mean, I don't know what the question is there, whether they're doing enough, I guess, but you kind of
also, as they partner with Oxfam Ireland, I don't know if I want to talk badly about them.
No, they're trying.
Yeah, they're trying.
They're doing something.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we've already talked about this. Oxfam's launching Secondhand September to encourage people to buy fewer items. Tell me about that. Oh, yeah, we talked about
that a bit more.
But also, she said she's got on here. You've got some celebrity support as well. How does that kind of fit in? So that'd be interesting.
Okay. So to promote our Secondhand September campaign, we're asking people to pledge to say no to new clothes for 30 days, take the challenge of shopping secondhand or not shopping at all throughout the whole month. And we've got some celebrities on board who've been helping us with this. So at Glastonbury, some of the artists donated their clothing to us, and we sold those on our online shop. They sold out within 3 hours. So it's a great way to get celebrities using their sort of influence to raise awareness of this really big issue.
Is there any celebrities who are particularly prominent in this area? I'm trying to think who.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. We
She's
don't
got
actually have.
Sheryl Crow. Yeah, you said Sheryl Crow.
Yeah, so the only.
I don't know if there's anyone else.
I don't know if it feels newsy enough, but because we sold the stuff from Glastonbury already, and we sold it last week. But I could talk about so Kylie donated her visor.
Yeah, I
So,
mean,
yeah.
yeah.
Some of the celebrities who donated from Glastonbury were Kylie, for example. She donated a sun visor that she bought at the festival. Sheryl Crow donated a T-shirt. We got the T-shirts from the Proclaimers that they wore on stage. That was the one I had my eyes on for some reason. And so we've had quite a few lovely donations, and we've sold them to raise over £1,000 for Oxfam.
A sweaty T-shirt.
Yeah.
You might want to wash that before you put it on.
Well, some people didn't want them washed.
No. Right, what's next? We should be buying less and repairing more, shouldn't we? And being more, and should we be being more curious about where our clothes come from and who made them? I mean, that's kind of what's.
Yeah. One of the things which we're starting. When you sign up for Secondhand September, we'll be sharing tips and ideas on how to upcycle clothing, how to repair, how to sew on a button, simple things that people don't really know how to do these days. So we're definitely going to be helping people to learn more about making clothes last longer. Another tip that we share with people is if you're shopping in charity shops, look for clothing from good quality brands, because you know that it will last longer, and that's why a lot of vintage clothes are still around, is because quality was better in the olden days.
Well, I do think that people like my mum, my grandmother would always be able to do, take a hem up, do a thing. Now people always have to either go to someone else or they just can't do it. Like, how do we get these skills back into our kids? I don't know.
Another one of the recommendations from the Environmental Audit Committee was actually that we should bring back teaching sewing in schools. It's something which is a great idea. What we're doing in some of our shops is we run upcycling workshops, so people can come into the shop and learn how to sew. One of the things that we've been doing is showing people how to make a bag out of T-shirts. So it's quite a fun way of recycling something that you might not wear again. So there's all sorts of tips that people can find out about.
Yeah, we used to do like tie-dyeing, all sorts of stuff when we were kids. That was like part of the thing that you did, and cutting things up, and that was always, I don't know, I just thought that all teenagers did that back then. I don't know whether they do that now, I don't know. I don't know if kids do that now. There was like,
I think there's
more
those were the days.
And, like, what you wanted more individuality, maybe there was just more. Now, I don't know whether kids want to all look the same and be in the same outfits now, or I don't know. We
do know that when people are shopping in charity shops, one of the reasons they choose charity shopping is that you can create your own individual look. You know that you're going to be choosing something that not everybody else is going to be wearing, so it's a great way of demonstrating your individuality. And then if you can do some sort of embellishments and upcycling, that's the way of really adding your own little touch to things.
Rather than like that Zara dress that everyone was wearing, that was like the article, and you literally used to, I did it for about a week. I looked around at everyone and was wearing that same, I mean, ridiculous.
It is crazy. Everyone's saying.
But then you just look like the same as everyone else. Yeah.
One of the things that people tell us that they don't like wearing clothes twice now because of social media. So if you've worn it to a wedding and you've shared your photo of yourself at that wedding, you're not going to wear it to the christening you've got to go to next week, so you want to buy another outfit, and it's sort of this perpetuating challenge of always needing new clothes.
Yeah, because isn't there now as well you can hire things to wear so that you can do it for social media? There's that whole thing starting up, which I guess is another good...
Yes, I've heard stories of people buying things online, wearing them just for a social media post and then sending them back. And I've also heard things about clothing often that returns to online places end up in landfill. They can't sell them again. So there's a huge problem there that's sort of being perpetuated by the social media culture.
Especially as people are posting like 10, 15 pictures a day. I mean, it must be insane. Okay, should we go on? Let's play more just on that one. Do you think influencers or celebrities, royalty, could play more of a part? For example, like Meghan Markle has championed sustainable designs in the past. Should more of them be doing that? And is there
That would be ace. Should I put a call out?
I mean, it seems like a no-brainer, doesn't it?
I'm trying to think of... Do you know when this is going out?
I don't. It'll probably be another week or so.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks, maybe.
Because so I suppose, yes, I could talk about how the celebrities who supported us in our fashion show this spring, and that there's a few. There's quite a few celebrities who support Oxfam and who are really interested in and good ambassadors for sustainable fashion. So, for example, we ran a fashion show at London Fashion Week last February, and we had people like Emily Sandé, Stella Tennant, like Yasmin Le Bon walking on the catwalk, and they were all really, really keen to promote sustainable fashion and the idea of shopping secondhand. So it's great to have the support of some really big influential names to show that secondhand clothing can be cool and sort of remove the stigma.
Where does the future lie in terms of fashion sustainability?
Just a small question.
Just a small question to go, yeah.
Predictions of the environmental impact of fast fashion are not good. So the fact that carbon emissions are set to increase by 60% by 2050 from the textile industry is a real sort of warning signal that something needs to change. So we hope that a lot of the changes that are sort of now coming through gradually from big brands and retailers will actually then sort of catch on, and that people will see more sustainable fabrics, a higher pricing of clothing really, so that the supply chain and the people who are making the clothes are getting a better wage. All sorts of changes that are starting to happen now need to sort of really accelerate so that we can actually avoid that huge sort of climate crisis that this textile industry is contributing to.
Has there been like any sort of specific breakthrough that's happened in the life? Would you say there's anything that would be classed as like that's been a big breakthrough for this?
One of the biggest breakthroughs at the moment, which it's sort of been ongoing for a few years, that the textile industry is getting close to working out how to do fibre to fibre recycling. So what that means is that when you take a garment that's no longer needed, you can break it down into the fibres and turn that back into a raw material to make new clothing. So for example, Oxfam has a recycling plant called Waste Saver, where all the clothes which don't sell in our shops go to Waste Saver, and they get sorted into different grades so that we can sell them on into different markets. And the clothes which are completely unwearable are then broken down into fibres which can be used for things like mattress stuffing and car sound insulation. And all of the cashmere that we get in, we sell to a company in Italy who break it down and turn it back into yarn, and Marks and Spencer buy that yarn and turn it into a suit. So it's a sort of circular economy suit, which is basically made out of clothing which could well have been donated in a Marks and Spencer store, gone through Oxfam, through this company, and then back onto the shelves. So the circular economy and fibre to fibre recycling is a real innovation, so that we can stop using sort of virgin raw materials and start repurposing and reusing existing fabrics.
So actually, I think there's a bit of a misconception. I know some people say to me, I couldn't even give that I couldn't do anything with that or go to charity. There's a lot of people who think that you have to give something that could be, worn as is, and they think, oh no, that's too past it. But would your advice be that, anything can be recycled in some way?
Most items that are donated to Oxfam, Oxfam can make use of all textiles which are donated to us. Nothing goes to landfill. So we would recommend that people chat with their local shop just to check that they're able to take it, but we can always make use of things. So clothing which isn't saleable but is wearable in the UK might be sold into other countries. We have a project in Senegal where British bras are really, really popular because they're good quality, and so they will sell really well into our sister campaign. Then we also have companies who buy fabrics that then turn into mattress stuffing. We can sell items into, for example, there's a customer in Pakistan who buys single shoes because people wear shoes working in the paddy fields and they don't mind if the shoes match, they just get really wet in the water. So when we've got individual pairs of shoes, or the shoes that don't match, we can patch them up and sell them to this guy. So there's always a use for items, so it's really one of our main ambitions is that nothing should go to landfill.
Amazing shoes. Well,
we're going to get loads of donations of odd shoes
now,
aren't we?
Shoes, odd socks, odd shoes, it's all coming through. I think we might be on that actually. Only a few months ago the government threw out all the recommendations of the Environmental Audit Committee. Self-regulation by fashion retailers isn't working, so where do we go from here? Is that the...
That's the Environmental Audit Committee, which...
They're saying she's saying all got thrown out. Did it all get thrown out?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I don't think I want to sit and complain about the government on camera though.
No.
But they didn't accept it.
I don't know if there's anything we can say about it. That self-regulation by fashion retailers isn't working.
And I also think I mentioned that the government want fashion retailers to take it on voluntarily.
Yeah.
That's their...
Yeah. I think we've answered it then.
Yeah.
That is the end of the list.
End of the list, wow.
We're done. Unless there's anything we've missed out that would be interesting.
I've talked about Waste Saver. I suppose, could I talk about the online shop?
Yes, why not? Let's do that.
So One of the ways which people can buy second-hand from Oxfam is through our online shop. It's a unique online shop which is basically the world's biggest charity shop all in one place. So we've got over 150,000 items there for sale, and it includes things like a bridal store. It sells books and music as well as clothing, so we would really suggest that people go and have a look on there, especially during Secondhand September.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.